Oh, well, so let's see. Let's go to my notes here. So what have you seen so far at the show that was interesting?
I love the AV studio. I haven't seen it anywhere. They wheeled me in this morning.
Why? I mean,
moved since.
There's an obvious answer. You're a journalist. It's your job to cover these things. But why do you come to the show?
Because I'm forced to.
Because you have a boss who said go. Okay,
no,
well, maybe that's the answer.
I'm my own boss. It's just that I do most of our work outside shows.
Sure.
We ran a big piece actually about what's the point of trade shows. They are relevant and very much.
That piece was featured on SDVoE Live, by the way. We got to get you on our TV show sometime.
Well, I must talk to my agent.
Okay, I'll put him in touch. I'll put my people in touch with yours.
Oh, how very Hollywood. But it's I forgot what I was saying now. Oh yes. Yes, for me it's networking. I mean, every time it's pure networking for working for me. I mean, we thought we'd get here and get a TV studio because it's a great way of getting people to come to you,
isn't it? Isn't it?
What do you know? And actually, we get some very good content here and everything else, so it's quite nice. So,
yeah.
You know, I can spend the entire place here. I'm not going to get around it all.
Yeah.
But my problem is that everybody's got a picture of me and they know me. I can't possibly get around all these halls and see everybody.
Yeah.
So the thing that hit me coming in, apart from the enormous amount of walking I did, was the fact that for once the stands are the right size and you can really go to town demonstrating what you really do.
Yes.
In as dynamic a way as possible. So coming into something like this, I've been here for Mobile World when I used to write about telecoms years ago. Magnificent. And they wired it up properly and everything else. It was a really buzzing show. So then they got about 120, 130,000 visitors. And this year is about 60. They're recovering from the same thing we are.
Sure.
There'll probably be 60, 70 here, if not more, I don't know, when the figures get rolled in. But it's infinitely better environment. People still prefer Amsterdam because of the cost, the ease of getting to. Chinese and Americans on the whole, don't you? Prefer Amsterdam. It's a bit too far Barcelona. But we got our truck and and everything else, and we hired a truck. We're thinking of getting a truck and using it for our road show.
Yeah.
And we just drove down here, fraction of the cost, so we've built our own stand a lot.
Okay.
It's very nice. I love Barcelona. When you get here, it's a fabulous place to be for a trade show.
Well, that's what I've been learning for the last 3 days, especially in Barcelona in May versus Amsterdam in February.
I know. Well, I'm a token northerly in North of England. We're used to cold and frost and snow, so I'm used to rough weather.
Sure.
I'm happiest when it's not sun shining.
Okay.
I'm totally opposite to the average American who likes to be on the sunshine and everything else. That's why I'm so miserable all day long, because I'm used to bad weather and cold. And it just hardens your character, you know?
Sure. As my grandfather used to say, it puts hair on your toenails.
Yes, it puts hair everywhere. But that's another problem I've got, getting rid of it at the moment. Thank you for that's a nice bit of correction.
Well, good. That's because that's the third thing I wanted to talk about.
Well, getting rid of my hair. I know. When you get to my age, everything, you have too much of the things you don't want.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, great. I mean, it's nice. I'm glad they moved here. The Catalonians are absolutely cock-a-hoop, because they are desperate for the business. And I think whatever happens with ISC in the AV community, there will always be a representation of AV for the local Spanish and Catalan population here, who I think will be lovely to it. When we launched it, we came along to the launch of it. It was full of local press, and the majority of the mayor came out. It was like huge. Huge
I remember ISC making a big deal out of it that way. Like the mayor of Barcelona is here.
When you got here, you realise for the locals what a huge deal it was.
Okay.
Huge. I will continue to be. So that's good.
It makes us supported well.
I mean, Amsterdam was no longer able to cope with what the show needs.
The Rise certainly wasn't.
No.
Yeah, it was. I remember the last year as an exhibitor, they said, you bought 100 square meters, you bought 150 square meters last year, that's what you're allowed this year.
Yeah.
You can't buy one extra square meter because we're out of space. Okay, I have money. Can I please buy? Nope. Okay. As an American, this is very strange to me. I'm waving money at you. You're supposed to take it and give me things.
The difference is going to be, and this year especially, is how people are going to respond to Infocom.
Is what?
Is how people are going to respond to Infocom, because I find the shows are very separate.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a product fest, and people want to talk to customers here. In Infocom, I can access more senior people and talk other journalists, which, they don't want to see me here on the booze. They want to talk to people who are going to buy the stuff.
Yeah.
Or develop their relationships with their clients. Fair enough, that's what you want. Not so much. While we just want to do our own thing and be separate and have our own agenda for once.
Yeah.
Because normally we do panels for IT and so on, and IC's chosen to do that, and so it should be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really curious to see. I mean, we're starting to see how ISE is shaking out. I obviously haven't seen any attendance numbers yet, but the show doesn't feel dead, which was a worry a year ago.
Well, yes, true, but I think, thank God, things are relaxed so far. So far, so good. But a lot of people are in here, but it soaks them up.
Right, so that's the thing. This venue is so huge.
But you have room to breathe, don't you?
But I think that's a good thing, right? It could very easily look empty, even if it weren't.
Yes.
And yet it doesn't look empty.
The queue at that front door this morning was enormous.
Oh, is that right?
That's where we went through the exhibitors a bit.
Yeah, I got in early with exhibitors, so I didn't see that. But
this was 8 o'clock this morning, and there was still a huge queue out front.
Okay, wow, good.
So, I mean, I think, the AV community has, even though it's had an absolute tough time, the whole world switched towards AV, hasn't it? With the unique environments you see and everything else. And, but the difficulty is, do we have the skills to accommodate, to go for remote or hybrid? Yeah. And as we'll discuss in the session we've got booked, interoperability, integration are going to be infinitely more important. And how do we cope with that? We all love proprietary worlds to a point. With lots of, even Windows is a proprietary environment.
For sure.
With that smaller bit, so long as we want things to work properly. And we somehow aren't full of confidence when we feel, but it's going to wait on that. But it's going to, and you feel remote from. Yeah. You feel as though you're losing control of it, don't you? So, it's a difficult scenario to put together and work effectively and to make money out of. Because in the IT world, people just expect it. That's the uniqueness that made each product differentiated is now beginning to. You have to rethink what you're offering and how you're offering it. And quite often the manufacturers don't give out the information you desperately need, like APIs and everything else. They have their own agenda. Yeah. So it's a difficult thing for us to cope with.
There is a commoditization that goes hand in hand with interoperability, I think, and that puts a lot of fear in a lot of manufacturers. Because at the end of the day, when you're looking from a distance, like how different is that HP switch from that Cisco switch from that Dell switch? But there are differences, right? The differences are in how those products are supported, right? The differences are in what relationships you have with those as vendors. You know what? And the switches themselves may not be that different. Probably the Dell has this little feature and the HP has that, but there's still ways to differentiate. Those companies are all still making money hand over fist. And I think we in AV need to figure out how to get to a world where we can interoperate. How am I saying it? Where we can make money and we can differentiate while still interoperating. Yeah. Because it seems like right now it's let's put walls up, and the way to survive and make money and differentiate is to not interoperate. But the more and more that IT departments control the AV purchasing, the more and more I feel like they're going to look at us like we're crazy. Like,
well, it makes you wonder where the market for switches are going to go. If they're the crucial help in all this, aren't they?
That's it. What do you mean my Extron PC doesn't work with my Crestron printer? Like that's what you're telling me.
We're becoming remote now. We just want it to work.
Right.
And also we're seeing very standards. We'll have a variety going on. We've got Stage Tech here as well. We've got another small group that's kind of launching a new software environment for interoperability between at the moment it seems a live event companies and everything else. That needs to be much bigger, but it's got legs, I think, So, well, introducing all these sort of different groups that, you think, well, yes, that's very good. We want things to work really well, but the interesting thing that Stage now have later on, as we'll see, is this lovely operating environment which masks the technical planning and operation that automates all that in quite a nice, elegant way, which I haven't seen before. Yeah. So we'll see how that does, but it does need more support, more API, more support in the industry. Well, so it'll come eventually. But you need the great companies part of it. We need more bigger names, perhaps. Who knows? Need to know more about it, see some more demos. But well, very open to us all. But the IT world where I used to operate, it's a no-brainer. But some things suffered, some didn't. In a way, even though it might have been interoperable, it didn't provide the functionality you needed that you had in a slightly more proprietary environment. Right. Because you got to a new ways of working, and you develop your applications to accommodate that. And then, as we're finding our own company, when you move to new software environments, it sometimes doesn't support the functionality you've been used to for 4 or 5 years
right.
in its new implementation.
Well, and you keep bringing up software. That's
it's key to it.
It's foundational almost. You know, I mean, in a way, okay, the hardware is the foundation, the software's on top, but no,
when hardware business, though, aren't we really in a sense? AV is a lot of hardware, isn't it, really?
I think AV's got it backwards right now.
We like our hardware.
Exactly,
we like
exactly. But here's the example I give.
I'm an old cable man, I have to say.
It's time for you to go buy a new phone, I say to somebody. What's the first decision you're going to make? The first decision is, do you want an iPhone or do you want an Android? That's a software decision.
Yes.
Right? And now, okay, I've chosen I want an iOS or I want an Android. Now we can say, do you want an iPhone 14 or do you want a Samsung Galaxy S9 or whatever? We're going to decide the hardware later. But the first thing you're deciding is that user experience, which is driven by that software, which, okay, ultimately has to be, I say, ultimately electrons have to wiggle somewhere. That's what the hardware is there for.
My fear is I've been a Mac user, so I keep very quiet.
Yeah.
But because of the seamlessness with which you operate, and you know, I spent years bashing out Microsoft. It actually got to a point where the IT press, where Steve Ballmer wouldn't talk to us. He had his minders, and every time he came to the UK, I had a link with us because we were quite critical, and especially me. He said, well, why are you asking that question? I said, simply to get an answer, Mr. Ballmer. I said, oh, that's novel. I said, it's just from your point of view, are we going to get an answer at all? And we had moles inside Intel. So, you know, the senior brass wouldn't talk to us because our moles gave us very concrete, really sensible stories. That was another persona non grata move. But it was just interesting, just getting real answers out of people. Microsoft are very good at avoiding answers that their so-called evangelists want to tell you.
Yeah.
And every time a press conference I used to go to, because now people at Microsoft are now taking a much bigger view in the AV community, which you have to ask yourself why. It's that, we thought today we could have planned talking about this, and this. And I just let him complete what he was saying. I said, that's very interesting, thank you. Thank you for going to all that trouble. Now, shall I tell you what I'd like to talk about? And we went on, the poor guy was the evangelist, so he was just about to run his presentation. I said, I hope you have that in your presentation there, dude. Yes, I think so. I said, jolly good. Shall we go on and see how we go? And again, it's a revolutionary brick coming on. You feel the tricorn app appearing, and someone firing a gun from across the river. You know, you feel this thing go. Oh no, it's a troublesome Brit again. You know, he's asking all the wrong questions. I said no, it'll be a battle or two, but we'll win eventually. It's revenge, you know.
Well, Clive, let's wrap it up. This was a lot of fun. Thank you for coming to join us.
Yes.
I don't know what we covered. I think it was great.
I talked too much. Sorry.
F1, business, AV, interoperability. I'm going to see you this afternoon. We're going to talk more interoperability. Maybe I'll get in a fight with the HD-based T guys.
We'll hope so.
I'll try to be good.
Constructive discussion, I call it.
What did I say?
Fight.
Oh, that's just an American UK English thing. No. Like you say lift, we say elevator. You say constructive discussion, yeah. We say fight. That's all.
Two countries separated by common language. I know.
Clive, this was great. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank all of you for watching. Goodbye.